Hello everyone, I'm Lightworker and this is another episode of Awaken, Align and Ascend. This episode is about self-care and self-love. Now, you can't pour from an empty cup, if that makes sense. So so we'll be discussing what is self-love and self-care. Self-love versus selfishness. Society teaches us to give until we're empty, that process. The main message of this is we can't help others if we neglect ourselves. Okay? Now, what is self-love? Accepting yourself, strengths and flaws. Speak to yourself like someone you love, if you get what I'm saying. Have that mental conversation. It has compassion, has empathy, forgiveness, understanding, optimism, and gentle approaches towards yourself to reframe your mental thought processes if they're negative and self-destructive. Okay? Growth without self-hatred. That's self-love. Okay? Would you speak to a friend the way you speak to yourself? That's a question you should ask yourself. Would you speak to someone you love dearly the way you talk to yourself in your mind? Self-love is an action, okay? It's more than positive affirmations, okay? It incorporates everything. Sleep, healthy food and water, medical care, exercise, saying no to people and things and situations. Okay, habits. Big one is saying no. That's one of the biggest, is saying no. It's not generally what we're doing that's wrong, it's what we're not doing. And what we generally are not doing is we're not saying no. We're not having boundaries that uphold our self-respect, that uphold our self-care, that protect our energy. Leaving unhealthy situations. So we're not drained by that unhealthy situation. So we don't become toxic because we're in a toxic situation. Discipline is self-love. Short-term comfort versus long-term healing. That's the give and take of self-love. Okay, what is self-care? It doesn't have to cost money. Showering, walking, quiet time, reading, time in nature. What generally recharges you as an individual in a positive manner, what helps you align with your highest self and what you know is positive for your life within yourself, that is self-care. Yeah. Physical self-care. Sleep, nutrition, hydration, movement, rest. Listen to your body. Seeking medical help isn't a weakness. Okay, there's been many times where I've been in positions where I've had to seek medical assistance. And look, I get it. The big pharma and the medical industry are fucked up, no doubt. But the general health practitioner, the general GP, is a good person. I'm generalizing here. Okay, most doctors go into medicine because they want to help people and earn money. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with earning money. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. But one of them, you wouldn't become a doctor if you didn't like helping people. Yeah, they make a career out of keeping people alive. So generally speaking, your local GP, your local health practitioner, is a good person. So utilize them if you need to. Emotional self-care. Feel your emotions. Do not suppress them. Do not let your emotion create a subconscious belief system in the background in your subconscious because you can't consciously feel your emotions. There's no emotions will not kill you unless you decide to kill yourself over that emotion. Okay? Every time you feel an emotion, you actually make yourself stronger emotionally and mentally and physically because you're able to overcome that emotion. And the universe reads emotion. So it's so important to feel our emotions without judgment as well. If we sit in our emotion and we feel our emotion, but we don't judge our emotion and we don't try and control that emotion, what we do is we learn to alchemize our emotions. Yeah? We learn to alchemize our emotions, and that's so powerful. That's one of the biggest powerful things you can do on your spiritual path. No doubt. You know, I'm a master alchemist, you know what I mean? I alchemize my emotions all the time. If I'm angry, you know what I do? I go in a quiet area and I cry. Or I get teary, I get sad. Because anger comes from sadness. Anger is a secondary emotion. It comes from sadness. So I bring it back to the core emotion. Yeah? And then I release it through crying or allowing myself to feel the core emotion. Because imagine emotions like a tree. The core emotions is the trunk of the tree, and the secondary and the primary emotion is the trunk of the tree, and the branches that branch out are the secondary and so forth emotions. Okay? Now they're all vitally important because the universe feeds you what you feed it emotionally. What emotion you put out to the universe feeds back to you in reality, as reality. So if you feed the emotion of fear to the universe for ages and ages, years and years and years, eventually the universe is going to feed you more fear. It's going to make your reality fearful to be in. Because the universe doesn't filter your emotion. It doesn't go, no, this is not good for you. They feed you whatever you feed it. Okay? Through your emotions. And we can take a step back and learn to reframe our thinking so that we can change the emotion in that sequence of thought creates emotion. We can do that. But pain is pain. Sometimes grief we have to go through, traumas we have to go through, they create emotions that no matter how much we try to change the frame of thinking, they still affect us. Okay? Emotions exist. Our thoughts aren't always able to be constructive, but we can always reframe our thinking to combat those unconstructive thoughts, which triggers off a different emotion. But sometimes there's situations where you just have to feel the pain. You have to feel the sadness. You know? I've seen a lot of people deflect with anger, a lot of people deflect with rage, hate, vengeful, thinking and stuff that resonates on a level that I don't frequently resonate with. And it does nothing for them except make them darker and more unwell, because they're all secondary emotions. So, if you will, our core emotions, right? They're the ones that are real. Our secondary emotions are kind of like illusory emotions. I'm not saying that they're not real for the person feeling them. What I'm saying is they're not the core emotion creating that secondary emotion. So those secondary emotions are like, they're like twisted, warped versions of the primary emotion. If you're able to bring it back to the core emotion of the current emotion you're feeling, the core emotion involved in creating that twisted, warped version of that emotion, then what you get from it is a bigger stance point and a higher perspective surrounding your emotional alchemy. And you're able to much more easily release that emotion and not be stuck with it, not suppress it. Okay, this is vital information for someone. I know someone out there is going to be like, damn, mic drop kind of shit. Okay, so that's really important to know, because for me, for a long time, I was stuck in anger. I was stuck in fear, okay? And, a lot of that stuff comes from the fact I was scared, or I was sad. Yeah? I mean, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure fear is a core emotion. So is sadness, yeah? But so is joy. So is love. So is authenticity. So is knowledge. They're all core emotions. You can feel those things. Yeah? Okay, so feel your emotions, don't suppress them. Journal. Big part of my self-care is journaling, I have a dream journal, I have a shadow work journal, I have a rhyme journal, yeah. I also have a recovery journal, so I've got a few fucking journals. I've got a manifestation journal as well, so I've got a few journals that I utilize on a regular basis. It's very important to journal because you can think whatever you want to think, but when you put it down on paper, it amplifies that power involving that, because when you write something out, it's a spell. Okay, spelling things in English language in written form is spelling. Same with talking. Okay, but it's much more powerful if you put it on paper. Psychologists reckon that if you set a goal and you write it down on paper, you're 70-something more percent likely chance of succeeding that goal because you put it down on paper. Okay, so remember that. Journaling is important, right? Talk to someone. If you're feeling like your emotions are hard to contain or hard to deal with, talk to someone. A problem shared is a problem halved. Yeah. Cry if needed. Never be ashamed of crying. Especially, I know everyone cries, but if you're a man, okay, like for me, I spent a long time thinking men don't cry. That's bullshit. Okay? Unwell men suppress their feelings. Okay? Unwell men suppress their feelings to the point they have outbursts of emotions in a negative, destructive, and chaotic manner because they suppress their emotions. Men have every right in the world to cry when they need to. It's a great way to alchemize your emotions. It's a great way to let go of your emotions. It's a great way to heal through the pain and trauma of sad and painful emotions. Okay? I honestly find more respect in a man that has the capability to cry, especially in front of other people, than a man that won't. I know that a man that cries in front of people or a man that cries when they need to is a lot more well emotionally than a man who suppresses their emotions. Okay, and that's just for men. Women, you got every right to cry as well. I was just, speaking from my own, personal perspective, because I think in our society there's a lot of beliefs surrounding the fact that men need to not cry. I mean, my mom used to drill it into me, don't cry. She used to be like almost bewildered and disgusted when I'd cry, because she had the belief structure from her childhood or whatever that men don't cry. Yeah. And that's all flawed. That's a flawed belief, And I'm glad that never rubbed off on me. I'm glad I love my mum the bits, nothing against her and that, but it's just one thing that I know that I always knew that wasn't correct. I mean she's lovely. She's a great mum. She's done everything right by me. It's just one aspect where I know that her belief system involving that particular thing wasn't correct, and now she's changed. She thinks it's really good for me to cry when I need to, and she sees the power in that. There's no shame and no weakness in crying. It takes more strength for a man to cry, especially in front of other people, than it does for a man to suppress his emotions. And all suppressing your emotions does is make you more unwell emotionally, and that makes you more unwell mentally, and that makes you more unwell physically. Okay? Therapy if needed. Get support. Get practical and medical support, psychologists, trauma counselors, addiction counselors, whatever you need to regulate your emotional self-care. See, one big key of ascension, okay, it's not like a state of being, okay? It's a regulation of emotion. That's ascension, okay? Emotional regulation is ascension. Straight up. This is powerful. Video I'm doing. I'm sure I've got some gold nuggets in this. By the way, if you watching my channel and you want to see some really good documentary evidence and talks surrounding a lot of conspiracy stuff, check out I think it's called Golden Nuggets. I think Golden Nuggets. A great Tasmanian Australian fella. He interviews some world-renowned big conspiracy type subjects that, in my opinion, are all 100% on the money. From witnessed accounts of people that have been through some terrible things based on elite corruption and things like that. So It's a brilliant. I love that. Love it. All right. Anyway, back to what I'm sorry I got carried away there. All right. So ask yourself, what am I feeling? What do I need? Very important. A lot of people go through their whole life never asking those questions. Huh? They think, oh, how can I change how I'm feeling, and how can I get what I want? Those things very rarely assist us. Very rarely assist us. Mental self-care, okay? Protect your mind. Social media boundaries. There's a lot of bullshit on social media. A lot of bullshit. A lot of bullshit in the news. A lot of bullshit in our society that triggers programming in our subconscious mind, bypassing our conscious mind, because people that aren't awake and hip to this shit aren't aware of it, you know, like the colouring of fast food franchises, the symbols we see on every retail and conglomerate company, you know, all that shit, you know, it's all you know, ways of fucking with our subconscious, you know, the propaganda that we're fed in the news, all ways of fucking with our subconscious. It's all fear-based, low-frequency bullshit, you know, it's always trying to, everything in our society except that stuff that seems to be blacklisted from society or kept on a real need to know basis in society is it's really it's all created to keep people in their lower selves, fear, hate, distraction, separation. Remember, if you are a spiritual person and you have a soul, even if you're not a spiritual person and you have a soul, you must understand that we are all one. Okay? Doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter your cultural identity, doesn't matter your name, doesn't matter your race, doesn't matter your wealth, doesn't matter your job description, doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter your sexual identity, doesn't matter none of that stuff. None of that stuff really matters when it comes down to it, because we're all one. We're all one. Okay? We're all a percentage of the sun, per sun. And we're all on a journey as a percentage of the sun, so a percentage of the highest of highs, God, right? We're all God's pieces, we're all sparks of God. God has a spark of himself that lives within every human with a soul, okay? Which means we're all a piece of God having an earthly human experience, okay? And when we die, we don't die, we transcend back to the collective consciousness of the universe, which is God. Universal consciousness, yeah? There's some gold in this video, damn. Okay, so mental self-care. Protect your mind. Social media boundaries, 100%, you know what I mean? If you're doom scrolling all the time, switch that up to reading. If you find you're doom scrolling a lot of the time and that, set boundaries surrounding your phone and the usage of it. Times where you put your phone down, put it on charge and go to another fucking room. Get away, put the phone down. Put down the fucking phone. Wolf of Wall Street, that's a great movie. Alright, so, put down the fucking phone. Alright, stop comparing yourself to others. There's nobody like you, and there will be no one like you. You are one of a kind, you are unique, and even if you're broken, you're still perfectly created by the universal collective consciousness known as God, or whatever you fucking subscribe to, yeah? Because when we start to realize that we are perfect, even if we are broken, and we are perfectly broken, yeah, then we can start to have wiggle room for self-compassion and self-love, self-understanding, and that's the beginning point of self-care. Yeah, organize your thoughts. Okay, don't be a scatterbrain. Okay, organize your thoughts. Meditate regularly. It helps you organize your thoughts. It helps you control your thoughts, so you become an observer instead of instead of you being controlled by your mind, you control your mind. That's the difference, yeah? Okay. Focus on one task at a time. Okay? Some people multitask. I multitask all the time, but I've done a lot of meditation, and I have no issue with that stuff. If you're finding you're getting overwhelmed doing multiple things at one time, just focus on one task at a time. There's nothing wrong with doing one thing at a time. And if that thing gets too frustrating and it gets too overwhelming, put it down, go to something else and come back to it later. Okay? Just because you don't finish it right then and there doesn't mean you're not going to finish it. Yeah? But don't get into a stressful situation with yourself emotionally and let yourself bottle up stress and all the problems that come with low frequency vibrations by trying to persist with a task that you're struggling with at that point. And if you're struggling with it, get some assistance, but put it down, go do something else, come back to it later when you're fresh mentally. Okay? Grounding exercise, it's just brilliant. Okay, so a grounding exercise I utilize is two things I do every day. I cleanse my aura by having an Epsom salt bath, okay, a real nice one, and I meditate in the bath as well. I light a candle, scented candle, get the aromas in that, have a whole ceremony surrounding my meditation and my aura cleansing, okay? Something I do. Another thing I try and do every day if I can get around to. I live in the city, so it's a little bit complicated. There's not too many parks. But I try and get out to a park where I stand barefoot. Now, what I do when I stand barefoot is I imagine my feet creating energetic roots deep into the ground, as deep as I can make them go, right? And then all the energy that's negative in me and all the low frequency stuff that I have in my body and all the toxins I have in my body, I imagine them energetically releasing into those roots and going into the dirt, releasing me of all that toxic, negative, low frequency bullshit. Yeah, and then I go and touch a tree with both hands, and I envision myself taking in all positive things and energetic frequencies of a high manner, and I do that on a regular basis, and it really helps me stay on a high frequency. Okay, whatever. Call me a tree hugger. Fuck, I don't care, bro. I love trees. And yeah, I fucking hug them. So what, man? Shit, I've seen people hug way worse. You know what I mean? Shit, you know what I mean? Yeah. Alright, so deep breathing. Breathing exercise is brilliant. Now, I have mentioned before there's a 9D breath work that Gaz Wright does that's really brilliant. If you can get a spot in his classes that he runs, jump on that stuff. I think it's about $150 a class. It's fucking worth it. It's brilliant. And what it does is it piece by piece slays demons within you or spirits of low frequency and negative force within your life, so it frees you of those entities from within. Powerful stuff, very powerful. But okay, so another thing with breath work is every morning try to do the Wim Hof. Wim Hof, all right? Do that. Just look up online Wim Hof, and that stuff is very powerful. Wim Hof puts your mind in a very, very relaxed state, and you notice that once you start doing the Wim Hof, you start moving with intention a lot more, and start taking your time with things more, and it's a grounding exercise, really. It's a breathing grounding exercise, that I'm still struggling with because it's a hard exercise to do, but very worthy exercise to do. Okay, spiritual self-care. Okay, purpose. Move with purpose. Find your purpose. And if you can't find your purpose, make one up. Okay? We manifest whatever we choose. As long as the purpose is good for the collective and harm to none, make it up, pursue it, create it, manifest it, and make it a reality in your life. If you want it, you can achieve it. You just have to believe it and then put in the groundwork. And build, man. Okay, faith, prayer, meditation. Yeah? Now, I have immense faith. My faith is unconditional and everlasting and undying. Okay? I'm not religious. Fuck religion. Religion is part of the problem. I'm spiritual. Okay? I believe that my personal journey with my higher power, that I choose to call the universal consciousness, okay, also known as God, in my personal opinion, okay, not any religious God, just my own personal opinion and understanding of God, as everyone should have. not everyone should have the personal opinion and understanding of God as I have. Everyone should have their own personal understanding and opinion of their own God. Okay? Yeah? Whatever works for you is what you need. Okay? Prayer. Now, I don't put my hands together and be like, Hail Mary. No, I don't do none of that. I just talk. I talk to my spirit team. I talk to spirit. I talk to God. I talk to the universe. Okay? And in the morning, I wake up and I show gratitude by thanking them all. You know? And my ancestors, should I add. I thank them all. And at the night, I say goodnight to them, and I go to sleep. Sleep like a baby, Okay, so in meditation, listen, everyone should utilize and be practicing meditation because it reshapes the way your reality is because of the way you control your mind through meditation, and you're able to gain the skills and the space between you and your mind to observe your mind and then reframe negative patterns of thinking with positive patterns of thinking just by observing the negative thoughts and overriding them with new thoughts of positive thinking. And that comes through a lot of meditation. Okay? Nature. As much as I can, I try to be in nature. To be honest, I should be in nature more. I love nature to death. But I live in the city once again, and I'm a fat lazy fuck, so it's a little bit of a hassle because I don't have my own car at the moment to get to the beach and swim in the ocean, even though I love swimming in the ocean. Yes, I do. I go to parks whenever I can. I love nature because nature's where it's at, really. This whole idea that they need to build big conglomerate, structures and industrial complexes, and we need more concrete every fucking where. It's all flawed, man. It's all flawed because the true, being on nature is like putting imagine you're a phone, and you put a charger into your phone. That's what being in nature does to the human body. Okay, it charges us. And let's just, if we can utilize nature, know how nature can be utilized as an entity on this planet, we can utilize nature to rid ourselves of negative frequencies, and we can also use nature to take on positive frequencies. So get rid of the low frequency shit that we build up throughout the day, and recharge ourselves with positive high frequencies that we can take throughout the day. Yeah. Now, another point of spiritual self-care is becoming a better person, okay? Now, a good way to, I guess, becoming a better person isn't about, I'm doing this wrong, I'm doing that wrong. It's not about that. It's, the first question I'd ask if you want to become a better person is, who am I becoming, okay? And if that answer is a fucked person, a shitty person, then try and write down some ways you can make changes in your life surrounding your boundaries, your daily habits, your behaviors, and your thinking, and your emotional state of being to accommodate the better you wish to be. Okay? Now, boundaries is another point of self-care and self-love. Boundaries protect peace. No is a complete fucking sentence. You don't need to say it again, and you don't need to explain yourself once you say no. You don't owe anything to anyone, okay? You may have attachments or inhibitions surrounding that person that allows you to misbelieve that you owe someone something, but you don't owe anyone anything, okay? What you owe is shit to yourself, and then through that you can give to other people without the expectation of getting something back, and that's the true nature of giving. But you need to be in a position where you can do that first. So that's what's owed to yourself to become the best you can be. So then you're able to take on other people's issues, other people's predicaments, life missions and higher purpose missions, and fulfill them, and always be giving and always be loving and always be compassionate and always be caring, because you're in a state of your highest self. And that comes through having a lot of fucking boundaries. Examples, okay, of boundaries. I can't today. Okay, so It's saying you can't do it, but it's not leaving the person feeling like they're rejected because you said today. It's giving a possibility of in the future. Not saying you have any intentions of doing anything in the future, but you say, I can't today. It's a nicer way of saying no. You know? I'm not comfortable with that. It's a better way of saying no, fuck that. Yeah. I need time. If anyone asks you if you can make an important decision, yeah. In my personal experience, never make a big decision on the spot. No matter how much it's enticing, no matter how much it seems beneficial, no matter how much it seems like the right thing to do, never make a big fucking decision on the spot. Say, I need time to think about it. I'll get back to you. Okay? Cool. Okay, stop abandoning yourself. Don't lose yourself to please others, ever. Never let anyone ever fuck with your peace of mind. I learned that shit the hard way. Fear of rejection? Fuck that. Okay? Love doesn't require self-sacrifice. Let me say that again. Love doesn't require self-sacrifice. Don't get me wrong. There's times where you can show love and unconditional love by being, sacrificing things for yourself to do that. But that's an extension of love. That's not love. Okay? Forgiveness doesn't require reconnection. So you can forgive a motherfucker and never talk to him again. You can forgive a motherfucker and if you ever see him again, you cross the fucking road. You've forgiven him, but you don't want to fucking know him. That's okay. Okay, that's fine. Choose peace over people pleasing. People pleasing will always leave you feeling less than, feeling burnt, feeling overrun with problems, feeling in your lower self. But peace, you can't buy peace, but you can incorporate it into your life on a daily basis by not people pleasing. Rest without guilt. Okay? Rest is productive, whether you believe it or not. It's productive. Recovery builds strength. Difference between rest and avoidance. Rest is when you need to recuperate. Avoidance is when you're trying not to face something. Okay? That's the difference. Okay. Compassion and accountability. So compassion is like when you're able to see it from a higher perspective, show empathy to another, show love and care, even if they've done you wrong. That's compassion. I'll think about it from their point of view, even if it doesn't make sense completely. But you do it from a place of love and compassion, and that is compassion. Accountability, being congruent is accountability. Being responsible is accountability. Being honest, being trustworthy, they're all levels of accountability. Okay? Now, simple daily self-care. In the morning, drink some water, stretch, have a positive thought. Have 3 fucking positive thoughts. Okay, so in other words, drink 2 cups of water. Do a little bit of stretch. Do some yoga. Do some Tai Chi. Tai Chi. Hello. No, sorry, I didn't mean that. Stretch. Okay, a limber body is more resilient, and if you can move, you can move. If you can't move, you can't fucking move. You know what I mean? Positive thought. Now this is where gratitude lists come in. Okay. Write down 3 to 5 things every day you're grateful for, and that's your positive thought. Healthy meals. I've just started on a new diet. It's hard, but it's healthy. It's not the tastiest, but it's healthy, and it's beneficial, more beneficial than yum 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 yum. Fresh air. Fresh air is so good for the soul. Fresh air is very good for the soul. Breaks from your phone. Breaks from social media. Breaks, like I said, put the phone on charge and leave the fucking room. Go into another room and chillax. And don't go into another room and watch TV. That's not helping the situation. You're still avoiding. Sit with yourself. Do some reading if you will. Learn a bit about yourself. Look within. In the evening, do another positive positivity thought process where you do another gratitude list or a manifestation list every day. Or a reflection list where you look back on what you did that was good throughout the day and what you did that wasn't so good throughout the day, and you write it all down so you can understand how your day went. They're all good forms of gratitude and reflection. Then prepare tomorrow. Okay, do what you need so that you got a good structured start for the next day. Consistency, perfection. So be consistent with this stuff. You don't need to perfect the stuff because perfection is an illusion. Okay, nothing will ever be perfect, no matter how much we idolize the idea of perfection. Nothing will ever reach the level of perfection. You know what I mean? It doesn't exist. Consistency is the key. Progress is the key. Alright, now, here we go, peeps. My 3-day challenge. Alright? Day 1, catch negative self-talk. Write it down. Replace it with compassionate thoughts. And reframe that thought with a positive thought that you've written down. And if you have that negative thought come back into your mind, go back to that paper and read it, and read the positive thought, then utilize the positive thought mentally to reframe and override the negative thought. Day 2, okay? Set one healthy boundary and uphold the motherfucker. Okay? Day 3, give yourself one interrupted hour with yourself. Meditation, if you will. Shadow work, if you will. Just give yourself one uninterrupted hour. No phones. No social media, no TVs, no distractions. Then do something that restores you. Walk in nature. Have an Epsom salt bath. Prayer, meditation, all this stuff recharges you, Okay, so in closing, my friends, self-love is a daily choice. Protect your peace. Honor your fucking emotions. Set your boundaries. Rest when needed. Keep healing. Your well-being matters more than you know. Okay? More than you fucking know. But, okay? Become someone you can depend on. Treat yourself with the same love, patience, and compassion that you so freely give to others. We can't pour from an empty cup. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment in below. One self-care practice that you put into your life today. I'd love to read the messages and see what people do for self-care and self-love. And look, if you like my channel, like I said, like and subscribe. I also have another channel called Lightworker Music that makes music that speaks from my personal experience surrounding me being gang stalked for 10 years and being a targeted individual. It also explores and talks about my personal experience surrounding manifestation, reaching the Akashic records, and spiritual awakening, aligning, and ascending. And yeah, so if you're into that kind of stuff, I've got some great music that I make on that channel. Check it out. I'll put it in the link below. I also have a merchandise store. I've got my Chosen One jackets, things like that. Check that out. I'll put it in the link below. Yeah, and you can check me out on Spotify. Lightworker is my name. I'll put that Spotify link in the link below. Alright, well, you just have a lovely day. And remember, no one is going to save you. You save yourself in this world. Okay? And what you do is you take care of yourself so you can help others to learn how to take care of themselves. Okay? And, if this videos reach you and you think it could help someone else, share it to them. Share it with them. Yeah? And look, thank you for watching. You just have a lovely day. And remember, awaken, align, ascend. Lightworker out. Peace.